Hi Wizards, welcome to week 2 of Wizard Training Level 1. We had a great Q&A this weekend, and that should be emailed to you guys by the time you get this video, so feel free to watch it. We touched on some cool topics. So this week is about integrity. It's about just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do it, and learning how to navigate our world as people who are aware of finer things. Not finer things like money, but finer frequencies, like smaller, more subtle, more detailed. So if you're taking this course, you're already feeling some things. You probably have your whole life. You're probably aware of certain types of vibe. Maybe it's emotional, maybe it's clairaudient, maybe it's clairsentient, clairvoyant, who knows? By the way, that means when you've got the clairs, it means clairvoyant means that you're seeing intuitively. Clairsentient means you know things intuitively. Clairaudient means you hear things intuitively. All 5 senses have a clair, and many of us have a combination of them. And so in this week's meditation, we're going to be going into the temple again. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. And we're going to start to set our tone for the day, because this is the thing about wizardry. And I've learned this the hard way, and I'm sure that some of you guys have as well. Just because someone can see into the other realms, just because they can affect this world through subtler methods, magic, spell work, intentions, affirmations, law of attraction, which is what all that is. All those things, seeing angels, fairies, aliens, talking to them, having spirit guides, being able to know things, that does not necessarily mean that they have good integrity. It does not necessarily mean it should be someone that you allow in your life. And just because you can do those things, it does not necessarily mean that you don't also need to affect your integrity. There's a reason why people have tried to wipe us out. And it's because it's scary to know that someone has these deeper and more expansive talents and gifts that can affect things. If we want to live lives where we can be open about what we are and where we can master these techniques, we have to be integrous. We have to be first aware of what we're feeling and where we are. That doesn't mean you're perfect all the time. That doesn't mean you don't get angry. That doesn't mean you don't get sad or you're always on the rainbow butterfly kick at all. But it does mean that you speak truly, that you are fair, that you are considerate as much as you can be. I mean, inconsiderate, it's not that you want to be, but sometimes we miss things, and that's okay. We're humans. But it's important that you know how you're feeling. There's a reason why the words know thyself have gone through history in very epic ways over time. It's important that we know who we are. It's important that we know who we are in each moment. And it's important that as we know who we are also trying to better ourselves. We're also trying to show up in a way that has a beneficial impact on the people around us, on the spaces around us, on the nature around us. And as you hold your frequency in a certain way, I'm sure you've been around people who have a healing presence on you. I'm sure you've also been around the opposite. So this week, as our wizard training goes forward, it's going to be all about setting our frequency for the day. And then at night, to go back and look at that day and see what it was like with you setting that frequency. See what it was like. And I tell you, if you're doing this the way that the assignment is, you're going to start to see blessings within a couple days. You're going to start to see them. I promise you will. And I can't wait to hear you guys' stories about it too. It's going to be fun to see what happens. Because magic runs on emotion. Our thoughts shape what we do, but our emotions power it. So integrity is all about emotion. A lot of people want to have integrity and think they have integrity and claim to have integrity until they lose their temper, until they feel jealousy or envy, until they are afraid, until they're insulted. So the key here is to be able to know where you are and then to act from integrity from that space. So this week's meditation is getting you into the temple, having you see where you are, and then we're just going to crank it up a couple notches. We're going to raise our vibe a couple notches. There's a acting technique called the Meisner technique, which a lot of people that I used to know in the entertainment industry would do. And it's about emotional manipulation of oneself. And one of the techniques they would do before bed, this is not something I'm going to tell you guys to do, but it's interesting, is that every night before bed, when people would study the Meisner technique hardcore, it's kind of a method acting. So you would put yourself really in the character. You wouldn't pretend to be the character. You would be the character. And so what they would do is whatever emotion they were feeling, happy, sad, mad, thrilled, whatever, they would flip it to the other side. So you learn to drive your own emotions. So many people in the world don't think you can do this. So many people in the world think that emotions are something that are wild storms within you that you can't control, but you can. And when you can, that's what makes you the hub of grounding and blessing. And that's what the people in ministry get. That's what makes the difference between someone who's just bouncing around through life and someone who is hearing the call. One of the many things that make the difference. Inner work is where it's at, you guys. And that's what makes a wizard too. It's a different thing if you have some magical technique but you don't know how to use it, which is probably why you're taking this course. This course is teaching you how to use it. And it's teaching you how in steps that are applicable and that are approachable. And emotional mastery is one of them. Mastery is, of course, an ideal. It's something that we move toward. I don't expect you guys to perfectly master your emotions in a couple weeks. But I do expect with this practice, if you do it, and I know how things get busy, and I know how sometimes you have time to do stuff, but you paid money for this course, you're taking this course, let's actually do the damn thing, the blessed thing, right? So if you do this, you will walk away with this with a better understanding of your emotion. If you'd like to read a book on it, there's a book called Emotional Alchemy, and I forget who the author is, but it's the only book I know of by that title. And one of the things that I took away with that book, and I've carried with me for years after reading it, is when you're feeling a strong emotion, especially if it's a painful emotion or a scary emotion, to first just say to yourself, this is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm feeling. Say you're feeling betrayed. I'm feeling betrayed right now. That alone, and just to yourself, just inside, just admitting it, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. It doesn't dissociate you out. It also doesn't heal everything for you, but it does give you this sense of control, and it does give you this sense of navigation and balance that is amazing. So right now, for instance, how are you feeling? How's your emotion? What's going on with you? Think about it. Feel into it. A lot of us are taught to not pay attention to our emotion, to think about how we should feel and try to do that. No, how do you feel? What is authentic? Magic does not work if you're not using your real emotion. It has to be your real emotion. So dig it up. How does it feel? What is it like for you? And then as you go on with that, keys for this week are speaking in integrity, always being completely honest, never lying. And it's interesting how many tiny, tiny lies are common in our culture. Try to not lie at all. Doesn't mean you have to be super harsh with anyone. Doesn't mean you have to tell a secret that you shouldn't tell. None of that. But try to be impeccable with your word this week. See what happens. Try to be fully authentic. See what happens. You can still be kind and compassionate. Please do. But as you do this, check and see the tiny, tiny, tiny little ways that you have maybe compromised your integrity. Because we're taught to. No guilt. Just correction. Just fine-tuning, troubleshooting. And so as we tighten up our integrity, what you'll notice is all these little energy leaks will get plugged and fixed. And then your power will be so much stronger, which you'll reap the benefits of. Trust me, you will. All right, guys, I'm sending you love. With this email, it's going to be your meditation. Same thing as last week. Do it in the morning. If you want to, do it at night too. But definitely journal afterward in the morning and journal at night. Send you guys so much love. I'm really excited to hear what happens as we go through this. All right, bye.